Welcome to the Northern Knits Podcast. We are two friends in fiber, knitting, crafting, enjoying our nerdy adventures. It's episode 168. I checked with Diana in advance. I am Jocelyn. I call Winnipeg, Manitoba home. My co-host is
Diana, and I call Waterloo, Ontario home.
So you guys are getting used to the format. We're slowly adjusting to things. It's really late on a Monday night because there were birthdays this weekend. So
many birthdays.
We were busy. Well, did Mr. Diana enjoy the watch you bought for himself that you wrapped?
Yes, he was so surprised.
Yeah. I feel like those are the best gifts.
I mean, he got exactly what he wanted, and honestly, it's a pretty shiny watch. I think you saw it. It's got the moon phases. And
I saw the fancy watch.
It is actually literally shiny, and he put it on this nice dark brown leather strap, and it's a very classy looking watch, actually.
For context, he also collects watches.
And board games and miniatures
guns
and role-playing game books and as
the case where that's fine. We all have collections. Ours.
Never you mind. It's fine. Ignore me.
We're just making fun of you like women do their hobbies since the dawn of time. That's where you go, it's okay, dear, don't worry.
Don't worry about it. Put your headphones back on. It's fine.
It's fine.
Love you.
Love you. Oh, goodness. We get a little punchy when we record in the evenings, so, I'm going to have fun later editing. So we cover what's in our cups since both of our cups are pretty much empty. That tells you how long show notes took for us to get sorted
out. Sure. I've got some festive beverage in the form of blackberry apple cider. I neglected to note what brand, but some blackberry apple cider, probably from somewhere relatively local to here. It's really tasty. It tastes like juice. I don't taste the alcohol. I'm drinking it too fast. So I'm going to get real interesting tonight.
Cool. So I just finished my decaf coffee, and it's the cooperative blend that my brother-in-law works at a co-op as a grocery store dude. For the record, I graduated high school with him. He's my age. And now I'm going to move on to drinking my cup of water, which is in my Sailor Moon mug.
Aren't we fancy?
It's because I've given up ginger ale.
That is an accomplishment.
My pineapple juice, again, consumption of that's gone through the roof, but I seem to have given up the pop successfully. Now, if I'm out, I'm going to order a ginger ale as a drink.
Well, yeah.
But I'm going to treat it as a treat only when I'm out and not all the time at home.
That seems entirely reasonable.
Because I need to watch my sugars. So, I'm now drinking water, but at least it's out of a fancy Sailor Moon mug.
Whatever you gotta do. I drink my water out of a cup that looks like a milkshake, so do what you gotta do. I like it because the Sailor Moon mug can't go into the microwave, so I tend to only drink iced teas or iced coffees or like cold beverages out of it. Because I'll forget that I'm drinking a hot beverage, and a hot beverage that goes lukewarm is not tasty. No, it is not.
But a drink designed to be drank cold is tasty.
I did a sad thing. My dinosaur mug with the changing dinosaurs?
I do. The naked dinosaur mug is my favorite mug.
I was not paying attention and I put it in the dishwasher.
Diana!
I did a bad.
Diana, that's not dishwasher safe.
No, it's not, and I'm sad. It's still okay. It's still usable, and it's still got most of the dinosaurs, but it's peeling up at the edges, and I'm sad.
Diana!
I began the destruction of my dinosaur mug, and I was not thinking, and I just put it in the dishwasher.
Tisk tisk.
That was a mistake.
Tisk tisk.
Do not put fancy changing mugs in the dishwasher. It leads to their demise, and it's very sad.
It's okay. My sister asked me why the Sailor Moon mug never goes in the microwave. I had to show her the shiny parts and go, you don't stick shiny metal in microwaves.
Yeah.
You get sparks.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Oh my goodness. See, now I'm a little cool. but I was warmer when we started. Whatever. It was 30 degrees outside today, guys. I spent some time in my front yard. It was hot. All right. Shall we discuss things that we're knitting? Crocheting, fiber crafting?
I actually have a very brief cool threads because I went
What?
somewhere wearing a knit.
I
know.
forgot. I apologize. You're cool.
Because everything is still actually no, not technically patios opened on Friday here, which is yay. Everybody was crowding up the patios. The lines were for all of the patios that I saw were like a solid half block long. Everybody wanted to be on a patio. It was a glorious day.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So we went to the park that's about a 20-minute walk away, and we found a picnic table in the shade by a creek, and we had a very classy picnic. We brought a thermos of tea, and I brought some actual China teacups, and so we actually had like a classy little tea party picnic, and we were visited by all manner of creatures, including a little baby deer. It was so cute. But the point of this was that I was wearing a knit because it was cool. I was wearing my exploration station shawl.
I feel like you two have skipped the whole young couple thing and have gone to the we've been married for 60 years part of marriage.
I think we're both secretly 70 years old.
He collects watches. You guys knit in the evenings.
Yeah.
You have your routines. You go for little picnics. You're my grandparents.
There we are.
You have a little garden.
I also wore a sweater this week.
Woo, you did. Because it's cool right now.
It is. We've had a lovely stretch of like 15 to 20 degrees. It's been glorious. Makes up for that one day that was 37 last week.
God. That's gross.
It was a terrible day. I think I nearly got heat stroke in my own apartment, and I wasn't even doing anything. But on Friday, it was like a solid 15-degree high that day. And I had a remote job interview. So I put on my sweater so that I could sort of lead into that hobbies end of things where they're like, okay, great, you can code, but like, do you have a life? What kind of a human are you? I'm like, so I made this sweater and I have this podcast. And then in the instant that you say podcast, everybody's like, whoa, oh my gosh, you've had a podcast? Like, how long have you been doing it? And like, oh, a little over 3 years, and get to talk about all this stuff. And like, so, just oh yeah, this beautiful sweater. Yeah, I made that. That's, yeah, I just do that. It's fine. And then a podcast about it. No big deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing is thank you, Jocelyn, for bullying me into making this podcast and then keeping my butt to a schedule.
Yes. Yeah. It's, you know what? Podcasting has given me so many surprisingly useful skills that I just never anticipated. Like my ability to look at a webcam and talk to the webcam, even though your face is actually below the webcam, but I'm talking to the webcam like it's you. And like, I'm really good at that. I do it without even thinking. So like, I'm really good on video calls. And it's, I'm just prepared for this time, this time of video calls.
It's a surprising amount of skills that you get when you start doing something like this. It's really fascinating.
It's, yeah, I'm like doing Toastmasters at Bold, and they'd be, was it Toastmasters?
Yeah.
If I was up at like town hall or whatever, they'd be streaming it to the other office, and so they'd have the camera set up. So I'd get up on stage and like everybody's staring at me, and this is like kind of unnerving because there's a lot of people. But I'm gonna stare straight at the camera because I'm comfortable talking to a camera. So that's a skill.
Yep. In this day and age, that's a skill, man. My problem is if I'm looking at the camera, I can't actually see you. Because I can't focus on two things at once anymore.
I'm just like peripherally aware of a human shape just below the camera.
I got nothing. So everybody watches my eyeballs wander because every once in a while, like if you're showing me something, I actually have to actively look at the screen where your face is.
Oh yeah, so do I.
I'm like, cool, that's a thing. Oh, that's fine. I'm glad you got to wear some of your knits. It's always good when you get to wear your knits, especially this time of year. For us, anyway. For me, guys, unless it's cotton, it's not happening. I can't. No, I can do some of my cardigans and stuff downstairs here in the basement in the evenings, and my sometimes occasionally socks in the evenings, because if it gets really warm, the AC is going full tilt, and basements get colder before the because heat rises. So basements get colder first. So that happens. But I did discover today that I have a wear tear. So you just like you wear something out, right? On my quilt comforter, my summer quilt comforter.
Oh no.
So I'm going to try one of those slightly over the top. You can see that you've done the repairs. So
Okay.
stitch ones. So I'm going to look up a couple of those, because I do have embroidery thread, which would be perfect, because it's bigger than normal thread and it's colored, right? So like I'll just pick a color that matches the color scheme of my quilt. And then I'm just going to do the obvious repair and see if I like it or not.
Just put a big flower on it?
Yeah, before I invest the time in doing something more elaborate, like pulling it out and replacing the panel or something crazy. I'm going to try the easier method first. I was talking to my mom about it, and she's like, ooh, yes, let's do that. So I feel like there's going to be repair work for me in my future. Like how that's going to go. So that's the only real super big exciting news for me for the week. That's it. I don't have much else going on.
So we talk about what we're working on?
Sure. I just started a row, but I have twice as many objects as you, but you've got twice as many objects as last week.
Yes.
Look
yes, I
at
do.
you.
That sounds like a math problem. Diana's got twice as many projects as last week, but Jocelyn's got twice as many projects as Diana. How many projects do they have?
Yeah. May have been helping with homework again this week. You don't know. I am currently working on my Jack sock while we podcast. I'm mid-row, so this is super awkward, but that's okay. So this is a colorway from Sew Into Knitting. It is technically a Halloween colorway because it is themed after Jack Skellington from one of Jocelyn's all-time favorite movies, which is The Nightmare Before Christmas. In case you're new and you don't know, I'm obsessed with Halloween yet. I'm obsessed with Halloween. This is the second sock. I'm hoping to get it done. Probably not as fast as I got the second sock for the Sally sock set done. We're still laughing at me about that one. But I am making progress up my foot. I haven't been quite as dedicated to it as I was for the other ones. There hasn't been quite as many like Zoom calls this week. Like I haven't had as many meeting calls the last couple of weeks. So there's been just less time where I'm like, I just need something that I cannot pay attention to. I've had a bit more free space to concentrate on something else. So instead of working on a sock and finishing it this week, like I should have been doing, I crocheted 3/4 of a sweater.
Okay. I mean, I can't really fault you. Like, a sock, 3/4 of a sweater.
It's not like I haven't been working. I just haven't been working on what it is I'm technically supposed to be working on. The Summer Night Cardi, which I was talking about last week, I said I wasn't too sure how the pattern was going to work because it was a free pattern. I was a little iffy on the gauge measurements and stuff. My sock just fell on the floor. Well, guys, it's too short even for my mom to wear. So like I'm gonna have to pull it apart and lengthen it. So I'm like, whatever. If I'm gonna pull it apart, I'm gonna separate all the colors. So since I know I'm adding an extra repeat minimum, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to do the measurements in inches from my armpit down to where it would have to sit on my mom. Double check that measurement against my sister because my sister and my niece actually have the same length in there. I'm a little bit taller than that. Go figure, hey? I'm a little bit taller than my mom in a lot of spaces. But my sister and my mom and my sister and my niece and my mom all share very similar like back length ratios. So I'm going to borrow one of their backs because they're here, measure it out. So at least I know to make it as long as I can for mom. And if I don't make it quite long enough for me, it's not the end of the world. And then I'm going to have to redo it. So I'm going to redo the front panels and the back panels together so my stripes match better. So I'm going to start by pulling it apart and matching my colors up. So I just have one color, one ball for every color. And then I can just run through the rotation. And put the colors where I want them. So since that's going on and I didn't feel like doing all of that because I was a little angry with it, it went into a bag and it went to timeout because it needs a week or two to chill.
Mm-hmm.
This is not unusual. This is what happens when you misbehave as a knit or crochet. You go away till you learn to behave. So instead I was like, cool, I'll start a bulky weight cardigan. It'll take me a little bit to do, but it's on my list. I want another sort of float around the house or go out and get groceries with Dad. Like I want one of those you throw on a shawl and you run out the door. You know, one of those with
Yeah.
pockets. Pockets. I wanted to pick
Mm-hmm.
it up for pockets. So I got one. It's got a sleeve.
Oh wow, that's 90% of a cardigan there.
I'm missing one arm. I got missing an arm. And I'm missing a bottom hem. That's it.
That's not even true. That is 95% of a cardigan there.
I've even got the pockets made. They just got to go on.
Well, all right then.
So this is called the boyfriend cardigan. It is a free crochet pattern. I needed something that I could use my bulky yarn in because I still have 2 full balls of this Glacier colorway from Loops and Threads. Loops and Threads? Threads and Loops? Loops and Threads. It's their Barcelona, and it's their bulky, and it's a beautiful variegated gray. So it goes from a really light creamy white into a sort of stone brown through a gray rotation. So it's a really nice muted. The stripes don't match, and I don't care because the stripes don't match anywhere on this thing. And it doesn't bother me. It looks fine.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks like it's meant to be that sort of mishmashed color pattern. Yeah, which worked out really good. I did make the collar fancier than the initial pattern called for. And that's because the initial pattern called for you to do the front flaps, your front panels. So you do a back panel, then you do a front panel. I did the back panel in a medium, and I did the front panel at the large. I should have done the front panel at the extra large. I knew I should have done the front panel at the extra large, but I made it 3 stitches shorter, and it makes a difference. So I was like, okay, it just means my collar is going to be a bit bigger, right? So I made a collar because I knew I was making a collar. So you can see where the pattern ends. So they have you pattern up half double crochets through the front loop only, which makes this beautiful little rib lining on the pattern. And then to make the collar different, I just did half double crochets rather than half double through the front loop only, which gives the collar a bit of stiffness. So it's got a bit more presence.
Right.
And then I did a double crochet, front post, double crochet, back post, alternating to get a ribbed look. Because that's this ribbed look here on the edge.
Right.
That's all that is. So when I made the collar, I did the super classy measuring thing. I put it on. I went to the stand in front of the mirror with 2 stitch markers and went, that looks even, and put stitch markers there to tell me where to go to make the neck collar piece in the back. Super high tech, guys. That's me. So in the spaces where it looks like there's a little, I don't even know what to describe it, like lapel collar detail, I guess. On the sweater where it looks like you get some neck shaping. What happens is I half double crocheted up to the stitch marker, and then where the stitch marker was, I half double crocheted, chained 1, half double crocheted in the same space. But then I single crocheted around the back of my neck so that around the back of my neck would sit nice and flush with my neck and not be bulky and add a bunch of weight back there, because that's irritating. I don't know if anybody else finds that irritating. I find it very annoying because there's too much going on back there.
I love shawl collars that are like up thick around the back of your neck. They're so cozy.
No, I'm not a huge fan.
Okay, you are not a shawl collar person.
I am not
noted.
A shawl person. So I went from a half double crochet to a single crochet because I just stepped down a stitch. So it still sits up nice on my back and it comes right up, but it doesn't bulk out. It just feels like I have like gills or something around the back of my neck. I don't like the look. I don't like the feel. It's not for me. So I did that, but when I did the ribbing, that double crochet ribbing all the way around. So I literally finished the sleeve yesterday. Got it all nice. Look, there's my end. Did my detail piece for it. I made my decreases a little more often than they called for in the pattern, but again, I like a thinner sleeve. Like I like a fitted sleeve. I don't like the baggy sleeves. not on sweaters. So I got to do one more sleeve, and then I have to literally pick up on the bottom, around the bottom, and do a half double crochet, turn around, come back, and then do half double front post, half double back post to get that ribbing look. Or sorry, I'm double crocheting. Either half or double. I'll make up my mind later. The double crochet front post, back post is got more flexibility to it. It's not so stiff and dense, where the half double crochet is a bit denser, so it sticks more. And then sew in my pockets and I'm done. So there's no reason why this can't be an FO next week.
Well, I'm impressed.
It fits me and it's good, and it's a touch too long for my sister, and it's super nice and fuzzy and cozy. And I've already been like, Mom, I feel like this is going to disappear from my closet. Mom's like, why? I'm like, because it's acrylic. She's like, I got sweaters. I'm like, yeah, but it's a fuzzy, soft acrylic. Mom's like, yeah, you might lose that. I'm like, I might lose this one.
You should probably preemptively make a second one.
I told her if she took it, she had to buy me yarn. She said that was fair.
Okay. It's an all right exchange program.
I'm like, I'm fine with that. And if you don't, even better, it's mine. But I still have 2 full balls, and then I'm working on the third ball right now for the project. So I still have this nearly 900 yards of a bulky weight yarn to do something with. So that's a thing.
How much of that yarn did you buy?
Well, it was on sale.
So all of it. 6
balls worth?
All right.
No, but I wasn't, because most of this was the Dwell cardigan. Because remember, I first made the Dwell cardigan, and while this is super soft and silky, it doesn't have enough grip to it to be a super drapey cardigan. Like that needs to be like an eco wool, or like it needs something with a bit more catch on the clothing so it stays where it's supposed to be. Because the Dwell cardigan was really nice, but it's the same as when I did the when I had that Brava, that purple Brava.
Yeah.
It's just too slippy to be on its own.
Right.
Super drapey item. There's too much give. There's not enough catch on the clothes for it to stay put. And I don't like yanking my clothes up every 30 seconds. I'm not into the Picard maneuver. I'm not into the Picard maneuver. Not as a regular based thing. So that had to happen. So I'm almost done. I mean, I could have got done if I focused on it today. I didn't. I did other things today. Like 3 bean salads.
Which sounds delicious and completely worth your time, so.
It is quite tasty. Your turn, because you've got 2 items. So if you do an item, I'll do my other 2, and then you can wrap us up.
All right.
Section anyway.
Continuing on with things that have been seen before. I have now finished with color A on the lighthouse shawl.
I need to make that.
The fingering weight crochet shawl. So color A was the sangria, which is the lovely red color. So I am now done with that. I now have something like 12 rows of the canasta, which is the white with red and blue speckles. And I'm just really pleased with this. It's just, like, it already looks, I could just stop here and it already looks really good. Like, it already looks good. But there's going to be more of it. I'm really excited. Whoa, cat! Oh, cat!
Whole screen shook. She just jumped up the window. Fell. Thanks, cat.
I love how this looks on camera. It looks so good.
This
red. I need more of this red in my life.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I need a sweater quantity of sangria. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't promise I'll make a sweater out of it, but I need it in my life.
You're not hearing me say no, because Midnight Cravings makes some freaking great yarn.
So yes, more of that color
is
to come. It's very bright. More of that color. And then the third color, which will begin striping in after my 12 rows of the white, will be, that's not an attractive side.
Smoke and Mirrors!
Smoke and Mirrors, which is a silvery gray, which I suspect I will love just as much as the sangria. Because I love reds and grays.
Reds, grays, and purples. That seems to be our color wheelhouse that we're almost always leaning towards, though I will do other colors.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this one. It's continuing. I have been working on it less this week because is, wool, and 37-degree day kind of turned me off of working with wool when I was literally sitting in my apartment just sweating because it was so freaking hot.
What I should try to do, see if I can get my sister to do the witch cackle for us for Halloween.
Ooh.
My sister does an amazing witch cackle. She
I
sounds
believe
like
it.
doorknobs. She just nails it. I was like, I need to record you doing the witch cackle.
Mm-hmm.
Super random aside. Anyway, we started off with I'm melting. That's how I got there.
I completely see the train of thought.
Pretty clear. No, it's looking good. I really like that lighthouse shawl pattern. I keep thinking maybe I should make one.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I like it. It's a nice simple pattern, and it's making a really gorgeous shawl.
Well, we know I can make crochet items.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing. Cool beans. So I guess we're gonna back to me. Notice I just realized I only have one thing that's knit this week. The other 3 items are crocheted. Oops. That'll change. Don't worry. There's project bags on the floor. Things are happening, folks. I did finally rip out that 17 inches of fingering weight knitting that I did for the pattern that's not going to work that I'm designing. Let's start that over. So not happy about that. But I ripped it. It's fine. Oh.
It's part of the design journey.
It is. If you guys noticed, I'm still doing Instagram lives called Late Night Knitting. Happens anytime after 10 p.m. my time, because then it's late night. Sometimes it's 10:30, sometimes it's midnight, sometimes it's 3 a.m. It just depends on when I'm up. My schedule is so out of whack now. It's just off the rails crazy. I'm so worried she's just going to jump down right when I'm in the middle of doing something. Of course she is.
Since I'm working from home at the moment, and I'm only required to be at my computer for the morning meeting, I kind of made the terrible discovery that if I feel like writing code at 2 a.m, I can just do that.
Yep.
And I feel like now that I've discovered that, my schedule is about to go off the rails.
Yep.
The work will get done. It's just going to get done in the middle of the night because I can just lean into this night owlness.
Yep. And then your morning meetings just are how you end your day.
Yeah.
It's totally feasible. So I was watching YouTube at like 3 a.m. last night. And Jaded and Stitches, who's a podcast that we follow, she's a crochet lady, made a head thingy. So I made a head thingy. Head kerchief thingy. I'm not going to tie it on because I have to take it off to show you guys here in a second or two. But Diana's not here anymore to put things on her head. So I have a finished object. It's now existing on my head. It is a fingering weight. She used a super fine. I used a fingering weight, so pretty close. Yarn, and she made a little head kerchief thingy. So I made a little head kerchief thingy. Should I follow the pattern exactly? No. Why would I do that? That sounds like crazy talk. Done on a I did this on a 3.5 millimeter hook. And it's a little corner to corner. So, I mean, it builds up really easily. And it's got a little scalloped edge, and it's got some little stringy dudes on the end for, tying it around your head. She did the scallop on the top edge. I didn't want to do that. It was a little too cutesy for me. But when I'm wearing my hair up in a half ponytail, or as my undercut starts to grow out, this is going to come in real handy. I used to have these when I was younger. I'm kind of excited.
I remember those. I had one that was very much like that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. My favorite one was white and it had blue flowers.
Yeah. Now, so this is some leftover scrap in the Dreaming of Spring colorway, which is from Dye For You, Miss Allie here in the city, because I made a pair of socks out of this. So it's very cute. It's a very simple pattern, and I don't know if it's got a Ravelry pattern or not because I made it from 3 till 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning this morning, or yesterday. I forget what day. And I just made it, woven the ends. It's done. It's not even washed and blocked. It just got made, and it lives in my hair every other day. And I was like, I remember that I like these things, so maybe I'll make like a couple of headscarves or something too. Same idea, just the skinny scarves that you tie around. Mm-hmm. There's my cat in the corner, and that have the nice pretty patterning on them. So I feel like more might happen.
Yeah, why not?
But it's a quick crochet or knit, depending on how I choose to make them, that I can commit to because it's only a couple hours and you're done. Ooh, now we're a lounging beauty. Okay, cool. But it does mean I have an FO this week.
It was very cute.
It is very cute. So it looks kind of weird with my hair loose and floating free, but if I was to tie it back, it would look better. So hopefully I can get some photos posted to that on Instagram. My cat has now got her claws stuck in my dress. Thanks, cat. Oh, the only other thing I've been working on, listen, you got stuck. It's because your nails need to be trimmed and I'm bothered to attack you today. My ball of yarn, that is the royal blue, that I'm making these crocheted granny squares out of for my aunt's blanket, is getting really sad. Like it's starting to
Ooh.
It's starting to droop something fierce. But in the super smexy reused plastic bag, because this got a number series on it, so this bag used to hold the Granny Squares 211 to 240 for the 365-day Granny Square Challenge.
Ooh. All right. Still got my sack of those somewhere. I should do something with them.
When you get towards the end of it, you need bags with numbers on them to tell you what's going on. Otherwise, the squares are everywhere. Because I dropped a square on the floor. Ugh, 2.5 inch squares for everywhere. So, this is going to go on for a good long while yet here, folks. In the royal blue colorway from Bernat Premium, which is the last of the royal blue I have to do, is the last of the skein. I am making 2.5 inch granny squares. There will be 6 shades of blue granny squares at 2.5 inch sizes, 1 in a light neutral gray, 2.5 inch squares, which will then be sewn together in a rotating color striped pattern out from the center of the blanket, and then it will have a border of dark gray that I can just crochet all the way around. So I got the last of the Caribbean blue. No, first ball of Caribbean blue ends woven in, and I'm almost done crocheting the second ball of royal blue. So I am making progress, which means sometime in the next week or two, we should be on to a whole new trio of blues.
Oh my gosh, new blue.
What are you doing? Come here. Come here with mommy.
Come say hi to the internet. Hi, internet. I'm a cat, and I hate it when my mother does this. Da, da, da. Dancing kitty.
The look on her face is just like, why?
If you own a cat, you know that face. That's the face of human. Enough. Enough. You are ridiculous.
Human, stop.
Stop. You are being ridiculous. You know why it is? Is because my bowl with that had once held my 3-bean salad is sitting just off screen because I ate it while we're making the show notes. So my vegetarian cat was probably trying to lick the bowl.
Oh right, yes, she likes tofu and stuff.
She likes tofu and stuff.
I don't think your cat knows she's a cat.
I don't. Well, she changes words enough. She might know she's a cat.
Oh, okay.
Heavens knows she lost screen privileges today because she ran at the screen full tilt. And she's not a featherweight, guys. She's not a. Yeah, the vet calls her voluptuous. I just call her large. That's fine. Whatever. I, however, am out of things that I've worked on this week. That's it. I feel like that's more than enough progress on things.
I think so. I have one more thing. Amidst all my complaining that it was 37 degrees and I didn't want to work on my wool shawl, I cast on a shawl in cotton. So I'm doing a lace shawl in cotton. This is the Endless Summer Adventures pattern by one Jocelyn Douglas.
That was so fancy and so not smooth.
I got halfway through the sentence. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm committing to this, and then it came out weird. Anyway, so I'm making some pretty decent progress on it. I think I'm holding it upside down now that I'm thinking about it.
That's fine. Right now, it doesn't really matter.
My progress keeper is just marking the front of it because the increases happen when I'm doing the front of it.
I'm surprised you've made it through that much eyelet lace without going crazy yet.
Me too. I have just about made peace with the eyelet lace.
Oh, that's good.
Just about. We're getting there.
That's lovely. I'm glad. I still like it when we were driving to the Manitoba Fiber Festival last year when the pattern came out, and we were driving copies to Daria.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh, I should get a copy. And I kind of looked at you like, or you could just ask the designer. Seeing as you're really good friends with her, she'll probably just give you a copy. And then I proceeded to say a copy. I'm like, oh my God.
I went digging through like 4 boxes to find my paper copy of this pattern. So I'm like, I know what I need to knit.
Yep.
I have precisely 1 ball of cotton and I know what it wants to be.
Perfect.
So the cotton that I am knitting it out of is this one. Which is another fingering weight white base with blue and red speckles. It looks suspiciously like this one.
It does. However, the cotton one's from Polka Dot Creek?
Creek Gardens Crafts.
Creek Garden, right. Polka Dot Creek is the daughter and she does wool. Creek Garden does cotton.
Yeah. So apparently I have a thing for white yarn with blue and reddish speckles.
When did that happen?
Don't know. But apparently that's where I'm at right now. This
Cool.
one's definitely heavier on the blue and the red is more of a purpley pink.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one is called Speckled Jewels. Ball
Right.
Bends in the other room. I do believe it's Speckled Jewels. I posted this on Instagram the other day. I posted the other day when I was starting it and I put the colorway name in there.
You know, by saying you've done something the other day, it just covers you. It just means sometime within the last 14 days a thing occurred.
Yes. I'm always amused when somebody's like, yeah, I did this thing the other day. I'm like, dear, that was like a month ago. Like a month and a half ago.
It doesn't go quite that far, but it will cover a multitude of days for you.
It will, yes. I'm like, the last week was like weirdly long, but also weirdly short. I'm absolutely positive I started this on Wednesday because that was the stupidly hot day. And I stopped work early because this room was too hot. And I sat on the couch next to the breezy window and started this.
That shawl grows really fast.
It really does. Like this is
really fast.
like a sizable amount for a few days.
Yeah, it grows really quickly. It's really nice. I know now I'm kind of tempted to cast on because
it's stretchy. Oh, this is gonna get huge.
It's gonna be huge because I've got 2 skeins of Garden Creek Crafts.
Creek Gardens Crafts.
I will always get those confused. I'm so sorry. It's because I learned them at the same time, so now they're forever mashed in my brain together.
You learned them with the same neurons and they kind of overrode each other?
They kind of overrode each other. But I have 2 of her skeins, and I'm like, I could do with a 2 skein fingering weight shawl, and I feel like making one in my own pattern is fine. I've only made it 3 times. Let's make it another time.
Yeah, well, you just make it with different yarn. It's different every time.
Different every time. So like I don't have other things I need to get done. Just cast on more things, Jocelyn. It'll be fine. It's not like it's stash or anything. You're supposed to be finishing things.
I know the pattern calls for tassels, and I'm still undecided about the tassels. But that's okay because I was having such a time winding this yarn. I don't know if there's just more of this yarn in a skein than I realized that my ball winder can handle, or it's too slippery or what. But like, I got 3/4 of the way through the skein, and it just refused to wind anymore. Like it just flew off my ball winder and rolled across the floor, and the yarn went everywhere. I'm like, what is going on here? And I eventually had to just give up, cut the yarn, detangle it, and wind a second smaller ball. So the smaller ball,
you got options,
is either going to go into the rest of the body of the shawl if I decide I don't want tassels, or if I get to the end of this one and I'm like, you know what, it needs tassels. I have yarn to make tassels with.
Judah, I'm a tassel fan, but I know not everybody is. So it's like baubles or pom poms.
I like the look of the tassels. I'm just not sure if I personally am a tassels person.
Which is fair. Totally fair. Yeah, my really seriously annoyed grape shawl I added tassels to. That's not what the shawl's actually called. It's
forever the yarn name.
But because the yarn name is so good, I've forgotten the pattern name and I just call it by the yarn name.
Yeah,
We
I
need
don't-
more ancient art yarns.
yeah, they've got good colorway names. Also, just gorgeous yarn.
Gorgeous yarn. So that needs to happen. But no, I'm kind of tempted because I give away a lot of the things I knit. I'm always like, and I'm making it for myself. And then like 6 months later, and I'm giving it away because somebody really liked it.
It just means you have more space to make things for you, and you got to enjoy it for several months before it went away.
And they go to places and people who like them. So, but I feel like if I make that for myself, my mom already has the DK weight one that I made in the Kramer cotton, and I have the one skein Wonder one, which looks great, but I'm not a huge one skein wearer. Does that make sense? Like I like big shawls.
Mm-hmm.
Make jokes I'll be like, I actually don't wear shawls if they're 2 or 3 skeins. I don't wear them nearly as often as I reach for the behemoths I've made. I just need to start making bigger shawls because that's what I'm just inclined to wear. So I feel like a 2 skein fingering weight Endless Summer Adventures would be ginormous and exactly what I would wear.
Yeah.
So that might happen. Because if I do both yarns at the same time and micro stripe them, so knit one row one color, knit one row the other color, and do the patterning, that would look really
Yeah.
good.
Ooh.
So that might happen.
Mm.
This is what happens when Diana starts sending me things. I gift back. Do not think I do not give as good as I get, because I send her blankets. I send her we were all tempting each other to start shawls on Friday. Like
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
hardcore enablers.
Okay. The shawl was Rav Facts.
Yes,
That's
you. It's not your bot. You made the
No,
bot.
I blame the bot. I have nothing to do with it anymore. It's out in the world.
You made the bot. It's your baby. This is entirely your offspring's fault.
I updated it a little bit today, so we should get some more different pattern results. I took
Did you
out
more
the
different? Whoa, hello, cat. Where are you going? My lap is
more
the
new
monkey
interesting
pad.
ones. Oh, cattail.
Give me my yarn back.
Comedy over there.
This is my life. Ooh, cat head too.
I took out some of the search terms that were yielding the same patterns over and over.
Good.
So
I
we
mean-
should get some different stuff showing up now.
Don't get me wrong. I'm always excited to see Baby It's Cold Outside as the baby cardigan choice. I'm ready for new patterns.
That one shouldn't show up anymore. We should get new and different stuff. I also added that it needs to have a picture, because I noticed one of the ones showing up doesn't have a picture.
A couple of them don't have pictures.
So we need pictures.
We need
Pictures are important.
Pictures are important. So that's the thing. No, I'm really still enjoying RavFax. I get up in the morning and I check my updates, and I mean it updates me every time RavFax updates. I don't open it all the time. So in the morning I get the 3 or 4 patterns and I look at them and
Yeah, first thing in the morning, it's like, okay, drinking my coffee, what did Rap Hacks post overnight? It's like, ooh.
I don't know, get into trouble and it's fine.
In case anybody listening is unaware of what I'm talking about, I
Oh.
wrote a Twitter bot that interacts with the Ravelry API. It randomly generates a query to the pattern search, and then it'll post the results roughly every hour. We had a power outage the other night, and so it wasn't posting for like 14 hours because I didn't realize, because my computer turned itself back on, and I thought it was still working just fine, but the programs had all shut down, obviously. But so, yeah, I'm running it off my desktop, so if my desktop is off, RavFacts is off. Because it's not worth paying for some remote server for this dinky little side project.
No. It's
So-
just fun.
Roughly every hour, assuming my computer is on, RavFacts will show us a nice shiny pattern.
I gotta start getting better at commenting on them because every once in a while, I go, "Oh, poor Sludgy the whale."
Yeah, I took out discontinued, least favorited, least queued,
Yeah.
because those ones were always resulting in the same ones because they were also coinciding with the oldest ones,
Yes. Yeah.
and those aren't likely to change anytime soon, so I just removed those search terms.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, and it'll change, and you'll update, and you'll add new cues, and you'll think of new search things. So it'll continue to grow.
Well, I have a to-do list the length of my arm to add to this spot.
All right, that's a thing. Cool.
So I'll link RavFacts in the show notes. You can check it out on Twitter if that's your thing.
Absolutely. Well, I guess that's it
Back
for
to
knitting.
wool gathering now.
We are. It is that time of year where Jocelyn falls off the deep end and joins all the things.
Yes, all of the knit-alongs.
I get so excited. Diana and I are talking behind the scenes about possibly doing a summer knit-along again this year. The Across the Prairies isn't going to work just because of quarantining and a lot of things that are up in the air. So it's hard enough to organize 4 podcasts on a good year.
Yeah.
Never mind this year. So we're like, this year would be a bad year. So we're not doing it. So the Cozy Up
I'm not even in the prairies anymore.
You're not in the prairies anymore.
Oh, prairies by proxy. You're my prairie proxy.
Okay. I'll stand in as your prairie proxy so long as you stand in mine. If there's anything on the East Coast, that only goes to Ontario. That's how we're gonna do that, right?
Sure.
Technically, we count because one of us is in the right province.
Yeah, I think that's how this works.
Totally fudging it. Whatever. So I know the Cozy Up Knit Girls are doing a knit along. They're starting in July. I think it's like something with sleeves. Anything. And I'm only a third of the way through the podcast for the week, you guys. And then Dinah's like, I'm good to go. I'm like, cool. Stop that YouTube video. We'll do a recording. I'll go back and I'll find out more details for next week. But I have decided on a couple I know for sure I want to do. Mostly because one I accidentally helped with the starting of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on my bingo card, which you can't see because my bingo card's behind my shawl. Look, there's a bingo card.
Yeah, I never actually made a card. I just wrote a list in a book somewhere. I wonder which book that's in. I have 3 bullet journals. It's in one of them. They're all right here. It's in one of them.
You have 3?
Yeah. 3. Well, so I have the one that was my one last year.
Mm-hmm.
But then New Year I wanted to start a new one.
Okay.
So this one's just for show notes now.
Okay.
So this one's my this year's personal one.
Okay.
And then I, actually needed one for work because I'd actually been at a workplace long enough that I had enough stuff to organize and I kind of semi-owned some projects and I actually needed one for work. So I got one for work, which I'm now still using for work. So I've got the podcast one, I got my personal one, and I got my work one.
3 bullet journals.
3 bullet journals, I know. I didn't do it on purpose.
Says the girl who's currently running 6 notebooks to keep all of her stuff organized, but at least I'm not calling them fancy bullet journals because they're literally just notebooks with things written in them.
Mine are bullet. Well, one of them is definitely a bullet journal. The other 2 are just show notes and a list of lists with dates.
The pink moleskin one that I've been using for my designs and stuff is literally just full of pictures with half a page notes. And that's the entirety of all I've made progress on the pattern on. And Asa's like, oh, I'll help you write out your patterns. I'm like, I don't think you understand exactly how badly organized this is. Like, you might get half a page of notes and a picture. And I'm not sure how you're going to translate that. That's where I get stuck. Because I've got the picture and I know what I'm doing. But slowing down to write it out just drags at me. And I finally figured out what it is that it reminds me of. Training manuals in retail when I'm teaching people how to close and open.
Ooh.
I was one of the managers that had to write those things.
Oh, gross.
I'm just like, this is what this reminds me of. And it just sucks all the joy out of it because it's just not one of my preferred tasks. It's like, ugh, so much ugh. So much don't want to do. So, I don't know. I will either take advantage of Asa and get her to help me, or I will suck it up and become an adult. Asa, I'm sending you some emails. I know I'm going to avoid it. It's like vacuuming. I would rather pay the kid. I do, in fact, pay the kid to vacuum. She comes down once a month and she vacuums all my floors and my stairs for me because I just freaking hate it. Hate it.
We all have that thing.
I pay her in Italian. So, like, we order lasagna. Like, that's her payment for it.
If she vacuums more than once a month, does she get more food?
Yeah, she rarely does, but she knows that's the deal. If she would come down, like, once a week, she could get something from me. It'd be fine. Just, I hate vacuuming that much. I am so okay with that steep charge. I really hate it.
I hate yard work, but I haven't had a yard for that to be an issue.
It helps. But let's get back to knit-alongs.
Yes.
I do love to do. She'll probably start snoring shortly. So if you start hearing snoring, it's the cat. A lot of my notes live on loose leaf. Look, here's my note. So as I'm an excellent podcaster and look off screen, there's a couple things I do every year. Stash Dash, which is just completing things, your own personal challenge. Diana will link the Knit Girls videos below, I'm assuming. If I say it, it'll happen.
Yes.
Like magic.
It's in the show notes. It'll happen.
Sweet. They run an amazing challenge yourself sort of summer adventure idea, and they do a great job. So I love participating every year because A, my TBR climbs through the roof in August when everybody starts wrapping up their threads and I start checking out everybody else's projects and I start going, oh, that's amazing, I have to make that thing. So yay, because I do love a good enabling session.
Mm-hmm.
Tour de Fleece starts on the 27th of July. The group that runs it has decided this year, even though Tour de France is not going, which is what the Tour de Fleece is inspired off of, they're going to run a Tour de Fleece during the original dates for Tour de France, which is a biking competition that happens in France. Shocking, I know, crazy. And a wonderful community of spinners spin during the Tour de France, hence why it's called the Tour de Fleece. But again, it's a sort of choose your own adventure model. So you set up your own challenges for the Tour de Fleece, and then you try to accomplish those challenges. So last year I wanted to practice treadling every day for 15 or 20 minutes, and I wanted to practice spinning my yarn, and I wanted to practice my drafting on my drop spindle. So I didn't have huge goals, but I made it a habit by doing it for those couple of weeks, because it's like the 27th to the 19th, 27th of June to the 19th of July, I believe, this year. So this year, I want to make my goal spinning for 30 minutes every day. So every day of the Tour de Fleece, I'm going to spin for 30 minutes. Some of these ladies spin for the length of time you would watch Tour de France on TV. I'm not at that level.
Goodness, no.
I'm not.
I'm a long way from that level.
I'm a long way from there. But I do enjoy spinning, and I want to make it a habit. And you make it a habit, and you're good at it when you practice. So I'm using Stash Dash to help me finish things, and I'm using Tour de Fleece to help me practice my spinning. Two entirely, but they happen in the summer. So there you go. That's a thing that's happening. The problem is that I love me a random knit along. So for keeping track, the Fiber Friends Facebook group, the Fiber Friends Friday night Facebook group, is doing a double knit along, and double knitting is on my bingo card to learn this year. So that's running until sometime in August. So I am absolutely participating in that. I've pulled out the yarn. It's wound up and ready to go because I had my Swift out, so why wouldn't I wind all the things?
Mm-hmm.
So that's ready to go. So I probably won't start this week, but might start it next week because I'm going to do some pot holders for myself. So excited to do pot holders for myself. The Stranded Dye Works is doing a marl along, and I'm like, I love marling yarns. This is a perfect excuse to make a marled something. So I'm jumping in on that one because I'm crazy. And then if the Cozy Up Knit, because the Cozy Up Knits are doing, there's something with sleeve along. So I feel like, well, there's a sweater because I can have a marled sweater and it counts for 2. So there's a 2-for-1. Love me a 2-for-1. I love me a 2-for-1. And F This Knit, and listen to a lot of podcasts and I watch a lot of things, guys, is doing I can't say the word on our podcast because we're not swear friendly. I gotta abbreviate it. Diana will have this stuff down in the description box below. So if you're comfortable with swear words, it's totally fine. But it's the, what did I say it was? This is why I write notes, because I forget things and I don't want to mispronounce it. My writing is huge. The effing self-care along. I just need to use that hashtag on our Instagram, and I need an excuse to use that hashtag on our Instagram, and I love making things for myself. So that's going to happen. So if we're keeping track, that's 4 knit-alongs I'm going to do, plus possibly one of our own.
Yeah.
This always goes badly for me. Let's do it! I said no to the Marley Bird one this year because I wasn't sure about color combinations and things. And I didn't do the Arnie and Carlos one earlier this year because I'm not that good at color work knitting yet, though it would be doing those squares would be a good way to practice. It's like I have said no when I see these things pop up. I just don't do it very often. And I fear it'll help me get me geared up for maybe I'll do like the Stephen West mystery knit this year. Like, I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe during the Stephen West mystery knit, I'll knit his star one from last year because I really like that pattern and I've got the yarn for it. So I'll make up my mind. But those ones are for sure I want to do because I think I'll do, because I've talked to you about Izzy's sweater, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've pulled out the gray yarn for that. I've even split it into balls. Hang on, wait. Here's 3. Here's 4 balls of randomly eyeball split fingering weight yarn.
Excuse me.
We're approximately quartered, which means we're ready to hold double with ourselves, we're ready to hold double with pink, or we're ready to hold double with highlighter, which gets me the last 75 grams of yardage I need to make it one size up for her, because she keeps growing. That's what you do as a teenager. And I've put this sweater off for far too long. So that's happening. So I feel like if I do that sweater, it would count for the marl along and the something with sleeves along.
I think so.
And if I start at the 1st of July, I can challenge myself to see if I can do a worsted weight knit sweater in a month, which I have done. But that's like 2,400 yards. So at least 2 kilometers and change.
Good luck.
For all the words, it's too late at night. For stash dash, this is like 80 yards. Like my handkerchief's 80 yards. Like it's not even a full meter. it's small. So I'm gonna do that, and then I've got some stuff where I'm like, I'm so close, I want to get it finished. And I got some design patterns I need to get out to testers in August so that I can release them later in the year. So I've got some work knitting and stuff I gotta do too. So we'll see how this goes, guys. I have 2 bags of yarn. Both of them are sweater quantities. Both of them for marled sweaters. And hopefully Sarah's new sweater design cardigan comes out because I have the cotton yarn set aside to do that one.
I feel like we need a theoretical knitting section.
Possibly. It's where wool gathering. It's where I put all the random stuff, right? But
Sure.
other than Patreon, that's it. That's all I've got to mention in this section.
All right, I guess I'll talk about Patreon for a second. Patreon is a method of financially supporting the podcast if you wish to do so. If you cannot or do not wish to do so, sharing, liking, and subscribing to the video, the podcast, etc., help us float to the top of the algorithm. Something algorithm. Yay!
Go us! Sales pitch!
Anyway, if you do support us on Patreon at $5 and up a month, then every month on the second last Saturday, we host a Google Hangout where we just hang out and knit. So that's coming up on this Saturday, June the 20th at noon Manitoba time, which is Central Daylight Time, or GMT -5, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
And it generally goes for about 2-ish hours, sometimes 3 hours if we got nothing else to get to that day.
Yeah.
Just kind of how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a nice hangout. So we've got everybody from the West Coast through to Europe.
Okay. Google meetups. No, Facebook meetups. What
Google
was I doing?
Hangouts?
Google Hangouts is being phased out. I think it's being moved over to Google Meet.
Something like that. Anyway, it's still working for now.
I did a Google Meet for one of the birthday parties this weekend. I don't know.
Did that
Well.
did it work? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll move over to that.
So I think you and I should take a look at it. And by you and I mean you.
I'm the tech person. I know.
Can you tech check that for me?
Yes, I can check out Google Meet. Yeah, I've done some stuff on Google Meet. That might be a thing.
Yeah. So
that might be a thing. Oh, because if we're on Google Meet, we can share screens and then we can like show patterns and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to look into doing Google Meet then for this month.
And I think they're doing some upgrades, so they've got noise canceling capacity now, so they'll be able to help pull, like, deaden that background noise that sometimes happens for people, which might help with everybody hearing things.
It does get a little bit crowded at a certain point.
Yeah. So maybe see if that's
Okay.
a good alternative for us. That was a
All right.
super random thought, but if I don't spit it out, I won't remember.
I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. It's going to have a big
Sweet.
star next to it.
Big star. Oh, if you guys can, we love seeing everybody on Patreon. We love hanging out and chatting. It's usually not too hard to talk me into staying on later. Diana usually has things to go do. She has a life. I don't. I'm good.
Yeah, on the life.
So it's good, and it's nice.
Usually
everybody
obligated to go
else.
clean something.
That's just adulting, dear. It's
Yeah, I know.
what we do. Shall we talk books? So I think that's all we've got left. Oh no, you've got sewing. I keep skipping the sewing section.
No, I do not have sewing. I do, however, not know what is going on here. Oh, I'm on not the side that I thought I was on. I'm like, did I knit the wrong side with extra yarn? No, I did not knit the extra side with the wrong side with the yarn overs. I'm thinking that I'm on the side where I do increases and yarn overs and stuff, and I am not. I'm on the back side where I just knit across. I know things.
Sure you do. It's late.
It is.
Shall we do books?
Yes, let us do books. Yep. Despite that nap, I'm still thin fast.
Yep. Well, let's not babble too long about our literature, and then we're good to go.
Okay. I finished a book this week.
So did I.
I finished the Girl Wash Your Face book by, Rachel Hollis? Question mark?
You make
Anyway.
the show notes.
Yeah, I neglected to write down her name. Anyway, it was a generally enjoyable sort of a book. An actual self-help book directed at women, which is not most self-help books in my experience. Not that I've read a heck of a lot of them, but I've read a few, and they're definitely written by men for men.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to read one by a woman for women.
That makes sense.
I feel like it's probably along the same lines of how to un-F yourself. Not that I've read that one, but from what little I know about that one, they seem to be in the same vein. It's like things that you believe about yourself. And yeah, these are actually completely false. Here's all the reasons why, and here's how you can stop believing this thing about yourself. So.
Right, makes sense.
All to the self-help book end of stop wasting your life and live the life that you were always meant to live kind of thing.
Yeah, the genre's got a pretty heartwarming, lift you up sort of goal for them.
Okay, so I enjoyed that one. Finished that one this week.
I've read many a self-help book over the years. Usually my dad recommends them to me. I read them. Not sure why, but I do.
There's that certain feel-good quality where even if you don't really believe what they're saying, they're just so passionate about it that you just feel good anyway.
That's okay, yeah, that's a fair assessment. For me this week, I finished a book, I DNF'd a book, and I finished 2 books. I lied. I finished 2 books. Bad Jocelyn. I was listening to, what was I listening to last week? Shadow Rider by Christina it starts with an F.
Oh gosh, I can't read my own writing. Freehand.
Freehand?
Freehand. I don't know.
I'll
link it in the show notes.
I DNF'd that one. It is one of the few books that's getting 1 star from me.
That's rough.
It's rough. If I stop reading a book, it's pretty not good. Try to find the story was interesting. The characters fell a little flat. The English language is a complicated beast. For the love of Georgia, do not use one word so much that when I hear it now in other books, my brain goes, ugh, and thinks of yours. It's not good. Do not do that. Find a different word. Use a thesaurus. Trust me, they're handy. Other than that, I'm never going to read another one in that series. I may or may not pick that author up again. I may be done entirely. So I just don't know. But I was like, nope, I'm not enjoying this. So I left it. Wasn't going to do it. I then proceeded to read The AI Who Loved Me. Completely don't remember the name of the author for that one.
Alyssa Cole.
Thank you. That was a very cute little romance novel. It was a romance novel. That was its core precept, and it did it very well. It was very, very nice. Shockingly, it's about an artificial intelligence.
I was definitely thinking historical paranormal.
Absolutely. That was really cute. Will I read like any other books in that series? Probably not. It wasn't that enjoyable, but it was one of those, I don't feel bad for reading that. Like that was a nice way to spend some time. It's a solid 2.53 on Goodreads.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, it's enjoyable. I think other people will like it. It's good. It's nothing to write home about. It's not like I'm phoning my mom going, oh my God, okay, you got to read this book. Which doesn't happen very often for us anymore these days. Then I decided, okay, I got time. I'll start a third book this week. And I may or may not get it done. I got it done this morning before I went to bed. It's called Slave to Sensation. I don't remember that author's name either.
Nalini Singh.
Thank you. And I like her work. So I liked Slave to Sensation so much that I've been holding off on starting book 2 of the series all day. So once we're done recording, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to listen to book 2. It's a very cute sci paranormal. So it deals with 3 races of humanoids. You have changelings, shifters, the psi, so people with psychic abilities, and humans. So I was starting at the beginning, and it's a long running series. She's still writing books about this series. She just had one come out.
Wow.
Which is why she was on one of the podcasts I listened to. So I'm like, cool, good, a good, long, deep series I could just dive into and read and enjoy. And I'm really liking the world and how they've got it set up. And she writes a really good story. And she writes really good adult fun time pieces. So I'm like, done. Done. I'm not super annoyed at your male characters. I'm not super annoyed at your female characters. I like your background. I like your world. Yes. Let's read more. So I'm hoping it sort of pans out well. It looks like it does. She's a really, really big and good romance novelist. So I will let you guys know because we're in it. And you know me, I will keep going on a series till I either finish it or run out of books. And whether or not I pick it back up again, whole other can of worms. So for my let's take a break and not read too many books in the month of June, I did 3 this week.
Not 500-page behemoths, though.
No, these are all like 375, 4 1/4 page book sizes. So these are not huge.
All right.
So that's the thing.
I picked the 8th Expanse book back up today.
Oh, good.
Because I finished my other one the other day, so I was listening to more of Tiamat's Wrath. And a thing happened and it made me sad.
You had the feels.
It's super spoilery, but I told Jocelyn before the podcast what part I was at. And
I've been waiting for you to get to that part for like 4 months.
I'm
4
sad.
months I've been sitting on that.
I'm sad. A thing happened and I'm sad.
It's very good at pulling on your heartstrings.
Yeah.
Pull on your heartstrings.
Like I was listening to it while I was having a shower and I just stopped in the middle of a shower with the soap running down my face and I'm just like, no!
I should laugh because it's a very dramatic moment and yet all my brain can think of is that is a really bad psycho parody. Like it's a really bad psycho parody.
Yeah, I didn't even think of the parallels to Psycho until you pointed it out. So I had some feels. My book punched me in the feels today.
Oh, yeah, they do that. So I'm good. Get it done. There's still more to go. There's good bits.
Oh, I know. There's another 8 hours of good bits.
I know. You gotta get done before December. The next one comes out in December, then me and your husband will start jumping on your head then. Read the next one. 'Cause
Well,
you-
he'll have the book first, because he'll be more gung-ho about it than I will, and then I'll get it like 2 days later. To hang on to for 6 months.
Yeah, I feel like depending on when he gets it and when the audiobook is released, we might have a read-off between him and me. Because if they release the physical book and the audiobook at the same time, noting I've done the entire series by audiobook, so like I'm doing the last one by audiobook too.
Mhm.
I will be listening to it the day it's available on audiobooks. I will start listening to it because I need that series to wrap up. There's things that have got to happen. There's stuff I gotta know. Same with the Way of Kings series, the Stormlight Archives.
Mhm.
Things I gotta know. Things I gotta wrap up. Gotta get on this. Let's go. They're having a Kickstarter for the Way of Kings, like the publishing house that Brandon Sanderson has.
Mhm.
And they're publishing these absolutely stunning, like leather-bound, gold-edged
Oh.
copies of the Way of King, and they had to split the book into two because it's so big. And I'm like, I cannot afford to drop a couple $100 on this.
But ooh.
Yet the beautiful 2-book leather-bound, gold-edged, fancy old school covering.
Ooh.
Copies
Okay.
big
Okay.
that I know I can't read in real life. And it hurts so bad because I want to own those stupid books so much, even though I have to listen to it. I want that whole collection leather bound on a bookcase. Like way past when I'm able to read, well after when my vision is gone. I just want to be able to pick it up and hold it and like smell it. Does that make sense?
I understand completely.
So bad.
More as an art piece, more as a tactile art piece than a book that you read.
I'm like, oh, I want it so much. I cannot justify the $300 American it would cost.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But
oh, I really want.
I understand.
Hurts me in my soul.
Understand.
So it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. And we move on. And I bemoan my lack of funds.
I dropped a stitch.
Don't drop stitches.
Oh, I dropped a stitch.
Bad, Diana. On the bright side, that means we're done with books.
I dropped a knit two together stitch too.
Oh no.
Okay, I'll just put that down. I'll fix it after.
That's the worst.
I know how to fix it. It's just really fiddly to do.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've done it. It's very slippery yarn and very slippery needles. I should have grabbed some wood. Oh well.
It won't be the last time you do it either.
Nope. It's fine. I can fix it.
What you can do is knit off your metal needles onto your wood needles.
I could. It involves finding my wood needles.
Shouldn't you be unpacked already? You've been living there for a month.
I did unpack, and then I had to restack them because we were moving stuff around, and so now I don't know where they are again.
Restacking your piles does not mean you've unpacked. It just means you pulled stuff out of boxes. Not that you've unpacked. You just removed the cardboard. You're only half done. Oh my god.
Well, I don't know where to put them because somebody's Warhammer army is taking up the only closet available.
Make him share.
And then where's the Warhammer army go?
First off, when's the last time he had a Warhammer game? And no, I'm not counting games he had 6 or 7 years ago. Oh my word. Oh my word.
I've learned not to ask practical questions such as these.
I have Warhammer armies. Plural. More than one. I stopped playing in March when we had a lockdown put on us. But I was having at least one game a quarter. One game every 3 months with my army. Squinty eyes. Squinty eyes if it's just collecting dust. Why do you have it?
It's the point I'm trying to make as well. Working on it very slowly. It's my life's work.
It is your life's work.
I will succeed or I will die trying of old age.
I look forward to being older than you and not having to attend your funeral. And him still having a clutter. Or us being senior citizens, you guys finally downsizing and me going, no, I am actually full on blind. I don't have to help you do that. You let it fester for 40 years. You can deal with it now. You're on your own.
When we move, next time we move, he can move the Warhammer army all by himself.
Yes, he can. I swears. Oh well. Husbands and collections aside, I will say until next week, I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
And no matter where your week takes you,
Don't forget to knit.
Ta-da!